Okay, so we are looking at a couple of Regents questions here for you to review. So they're a little out of order, but bear with me. These are all 2-pointers right now, okay? So partial credit, and they're all worth 2 points. Given that f of x equals 2x plus 1, find g of x if. Okay, so we just have to follow this formula right here. Now if you look at this, g of x equals, notice I have a 2. Now here's the big thing you want to pay attention to. What they have is f of x squared. So we have to fill that in. Well, what does f of x equal? Over here, they tell me that f of x equals 2x plus 1. So I'm going to substitute all of that in. So 2, and then in my brackets, instead of putting f of x, I'm filling in 2x plus 1, and then I have squared minus 1. And that's all you have to do. Don't simplify anything, just leave it alone. We've replaced the f of x with what it's equal to, and that's it. 26. Determine if the product of 3 radical 2 and 8 radical 18 is rational or irrational, and explain your answer. Okay, first thing I would do is actually see what the product is. Product means to multiply. So what I'm going to do on my calculator, I'm going to do 3 radical 2 times 8 radical 18, and let's see what we get. And I get 144. So now, explain your answer. That means you have to give a sentence or two. So I would say the product, remember, use the question to help your answer. The product is rational because 144 is a whole number, and all whole numbers are rational. Now, you could say something else. You could say 144 does not have a decimal, or 144 can be written as a fraction, which would be 144 over 1. So there's other explanations that you could write, but it's something along those lines. But the key is that you have to understand that product means multiply, and you have to do the multiplication first to check your work. Next question. Amy solved this equation. She stated that the solutions were 7 over 2 and negative 6. Do you agree? Explain why or why not. Okay, again, we have to explain our answer, so at the end we've got to do a sentence or two. Now, we don't even know how to solve this equation yet, but we can still do this question, because if they're telling us what the solutions might be, we just have to see if they actually work. So the solutions, what Amy is saying is that x equals 7 over 2, and she's saying that x equals negative 6. So I want to see if they actually work in the given equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug them in and see what happens. First, I'm going to plug in 7 over 2. 2 times 7 over 2 squared plus 5 times 7 over 2 minus 42. Let's see what happens. So when I put all this on my calculator, 2 parentheses to get that fraction, alpha, y equals 1. 7 over 2, close your parentheses, I want to square that, plus 5 times alpha, y equals 1, 7 over 2, minus 42. And I get a 0. So everything on the left-hand side I put on my calculator, and I get 0 equals 0. Well, that's true. Let's see what happens with negative 6. 2 times negative 6 squared plus 5 times negative 6 minus 42. Let's see if that's equal to 0. So I'm going to do 2 and then negative 6 squared plus 5 times negative 6 minus 42. And I get a 0. So that checks. So do you agree with Amy's solutions? Let's answer the question. Yes, I agree with Amy's solutions because both solutions check in the equation. Your explanations don't have to be long, they just have to explain in words what you're doing here. I checked them, they worked, they're solutions. That's it.